Going to a football match in the middle of pandemic feels like an undergoing endurance test in a reality TV show. A pre-match message instructs me to arrive at Hampden Park in Glasgow 3 hours before Scotland kick off against Czech Republic. I must wear a mask at all times or I must take in all food from my micro bag into a plastic bag provided by the stadium and all the catering outlet will be shut. So no rancid burgers or cartons of flat Pepsi to keep me going. When I immediately turn up to the stadium 3 hours early, the crowds are predictably sparse. The pub outside the ground overflow with supporters wrapped in Scotland flag looked like a tempting alternative. But when I suggest that Stuart that I might go and get a drink ahead of the game, a look of concern crosses her kindly face. Be careful which pub you're going to, she said. They will see you coming. What is she referring to? Could it be the Dunce book bag A4 stamp that I'm clutching? I haven't my spare ticket to Rear Scott, my friend Ellis there, but he's from Edinburgh, so also now 100% at home in Glasgow. We decide to take the advice and skip the pub. Inside the stadium, we encounter a fan in the loudest tartan suit I ever seen, including a tiny tartan clothes bag. I posed for a photo with him and he tells me I had it tailor-made, son. It fits me like a glove. It is not just COVID regulation that make this unique and peculiar tournament. Euro 2020, as we are fast insist on calling it, sucked into become a, has also become sucked into the culture wars. The pop outside the ground overflow culture wars. It is not just COVID regulation that make this unique and peculiar people tournament. Euro 2020, as UEFA still insists on calling it, has also become sucked sucked in the culture war. Sucked into the culture war. National football team has symbol of the nation, but that is not a straightforward task at a time when national identity is so fiercely contested. The pressing issue for Scotland is independent. For England, it is race. It is not just race. National football team are symbol of the nation, but that is not a straightforward task at a time when national identity is so fiercely contested. The pressing issue for Scotland, it is independent. For England, it is race. The English football team has decided to take the knee before matches as a protest against racism, but each time they do it, they are booed by a significant section of their own supporters. Even the government seems uncertain about how to respond. After hesitating for a while, Boris Johnson, Prime Minister, condemned the booing and urged fans to get behind the team, but two members of his cabinet, Jacob Rees-Mogg and Priti Patel, defended the protest, with Rees-Mogg suggesting that the protesters are not expressing racism but condemning the Marxists of Black Lives Matter movement. Patel, Britain's Home Secretary, accused the player of indulging in gesture in politics. Players from the England team, whose pre-game press conferences are normally confined to discussing tactics, injuries, and the atmosphere inside the camp, and now being asked to react Home Secretary. It would be natural to assume that cabinet ministers are better at politics than footballers, but the Johnson government has reason to be wary of their clashing with the England team. Last year, it went down to an enormous defeat when it took a micro-stretch for over the extension of free school meal for poor families. The Manchester United and England all mobilized a million signatures behind the petition and forced the Johnson government to change tack. The 23-year-old Westbrook preparation for Euro 2020 defended fan who visiting team that saying their Hungarian see the gesture as a provocation. Who visiting team that take the knee, saying their Hungarian see the gesture as a provocation. Orban is himself right-wing provocateur, who has become a hero to the Russians are also protesting against Marxism. Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, one of the host nations for Euro 2020, has defended fans who visiting teams that take the knee, saying that Hungarians see the gesture as a provocateur, who has become a hero to the Trumpist right in America by issuing frequent warning about the allegedly dangerous Europe being flooded by Muslims. But even some moderate conservatives are uncomfortable about footballers taking the knee, who one prominent thinker in laments to me that football used to be in a political space, but now the national team has become a source of division. I can see what it means. This year's tournament inevitably brings back memories of Euro 96, when England folded Euro 96. Euro 96. when England play their games at Wembley and the whole country they seem to get behind the team in an uncomplicated sort of way. Back then, packed the stadium, all joined the singing of their lines of football's coming home. But now the stadiums are largely empty and some of the home crowd are actually bring the place. But as somebody who has been to many England games over the years, I know that the idea that the team was never mixed up with politics or race an illusion. An illusion. England games have always attracted substantial number of assorted hooligan and fire supporters whose trademark chant is "No Surrender to RA." The last European Football Championship in France in 2016, the ugly tradition of English football hooliganism re-emerged when I remarked to another fact that I hadn't particularly enjoyed being caught up in a near riot outside a bar in Marseille. I was told curtly, "If you don't like it, you should stay at home and watch the game on television." On television, football grind in 1970 was also where I saw the most over racing that I ever witnessed. It was routine to see black players barked by bulls and monkey noises. The football authorities and commentators are silent about this for many years, so if the national side feel they want to make a statement about racism, it is hard to accuse them of bringing politics into a political space. But now the national team has become a sort of subdivision. I can see what it means this year's tournament inevitably brings back memories of Euro 96. Euro 96. Never brings back memories of Euro 96, when England fully mobilized millions into behind the Putin and forced the Johnson government. The regulator don't like football grind in 1970 also where I saw the most over racing that I ever witnessed in Britain. It was routine to see black players bark by bulls and monkey noises. The football authorities and commentators were silent about this for many years, so if the national side that they want to make a statement about racism, it is hard to accuse them of bringing police into a political space. The police, particularly the racial police, have always been there. The identity issues are rather different for Scotland. Identity issues are rather different for Scotland. For Euro 2020 comes as the Scottish Government is ramping up demand for a second independent referendum. This is the first major international tournament the team has qualified for since 1998, neatly fitting the narrative of national revival. Arriving in Scotland for the first game of the tournament, I find the local paper full of optimism. In recognition of the enormity of the occasion, the Scottish Government has even allowed school stop lessons to allow the kids to watch the game against Czech live. As a visiting English fan, I wonder how I feel about all this. I grew up supporting Scotland in big international tournaments. I had little options since England failed to qualify for the World Cup in 1973 and 1974. The anthem, but British identity was least 1974, but felt but British identity was less complicated back then. The packed stadium, the anthem play for the Scotland side that lined up to play Brazil in 1974 was "God Save the Queen," although the YouTube recording did not show the Scottish player looking particularly delighted. The team and the team and the team Today, the crowd and the team will be better of love Scotland, loud enough to drown the conversation. Enough to drown the conversation. The team start the game with all the expected passion stream forward. Their captain Daryl Robertson can be seen gesturing to his player to calm down. Then the Czech score and the air is sucked out of the stadium. At halftime, which I choose spent in the toilet next to hand dryer, the warmest spot in Hampton, there is hopeful chatter around the union that Scotland might be able to turn this round. But early in the second half, the football history is made by the Czechs. The team centre forward gets the ball on the half. Patrick Schick, the team centre forward, gets the ball on the halfway line and floats the ball over the Scottish goalkeeper into the net. It is one of the most brilliant goals any of us will ever witness. The crowd is now almost totally silent, apart from a tiny group of cheering Czechs on the other side of the stadium, and a group of children here continue happily shouting for Scotland, while the other around them was frozen in horror. But after the match, it last there reminds me that Scottish fans are used to disappointment. Making the national football team a symbol of the nation is double-edged sword. But double-edged. We imagine them scoring wonderful goals and celebrating the fan. But what if your goalkeeper clundering flow on his back and tangled them in the net? Euro 2020 has already delivered humbling setback for two football-mad populist leader. Populist leaders. Melbourne gave permission for a capacity crowd to attend Hungary's opening game in Budapest against Portugal, only to see the nation's side lose 3-0. Recep Erdogan, president of Turkey, traveled to Azerbaijan and sat in a place of honor next to Azer prison, from where he was able to see Turkey go down to a 2-0 defeat against Wales. England fans also have a habit disappoint their most ardent fan. The side-up often portrays as the embodiment of what we'd like to believe are national characteristics: courage, calmness under pressure. But in fact, as a recent piece by John Leo in The Guardian pointed out, England are uniquely bad at holding a lead in a tournament. The numbers seem to suggest they might even be bottler. And they all heresy, the French and Italians are much better at holding their nerve when they take a lead. But Southgate and has subtly but unmistakably positioned himself to the left of the government when taking the knee, who leads taking the knee. The English can break the entering in the winning event and provide a huge boost on the government. They're desperate for symbols of the success of Brexit Britain, but Southgate has subtly but unmistakably positioned himself to the left of the government when taking the knee. It leads a multiracial team, has continually defended the right to make statements on subjects other than football. It has become accepted wisdom in Britain that cultural wars always work better for the right than the left, but football may be an exception. All poll taken across Europe before your train had defended fans who were visiting teams that saying that Hungarians see the gesture as a provocation. Or, Mr. President to the left of the government on taking the knee. He leads a multiracial team and has continually defended their right to make statements on subjects other than football. It has become accepted wisdom in Britain that cultural wars always work better for the right than the left, but football may be an exception. All polls taken across Europe before 2020 had before showed 54% of English football fans supported taking the knee with 39% opposed. If the England team keep winning, the number in favor may rise along with the team's popularity. But once the right may find itself on the wrong end of a culture war for the duration of Euro 2020, I will care much less about who wins the culture war than who wins the tournament. For Scotland, Euro 2020 began with a deflating defeat. The England team disappointed their fans almost as reliably as the Scots. Just slightly later in the day. On the other hand, this is a real tournament. It's taking place in the middle of pandemic, and the stadiums are quarter full and and play and defeat and just slightly later and taking place in the middle of pandemic, and England are playing half Disney. I am allowing myself to for the weirdest outcome of the lot, an England victory.